This is my college basketball tier list and how I think teams have played throughout this season up until the midpoint, and if I think these teams will make the tournament or not. I did all Power 6 programs in here and some other notable programs that people usually keep an eye out for. So first, let's start off with the worst than DePaul tier list. First, we have Louisville, the only team to lose to DePaul. Obviously, this is kind of more of a troll because, we do a little bit of trolling just because they lost, but Louisville is probably better than DePaul. They beat Miami. They have a better resume, so yeah. And then we also added Mississippi Valley State in there because, we do a little bit of trolling. Then we have DePaul, just DePaul, worst Power 5 program, Power 6 program in history. Horrendous. And next we have trash. These are teams that I really don't think I can depend on to get one more win within the season. I would never bet on them to win. I just think they're trash. So notable teams we have in here is USC. Everybody knows I'm very low on USC. They have been getting dominated every single game. But then we have Rutgers. I think Rutgers is utter trash. They have a young team, so they have a bright future, especially next year. But we'll see. I do not expect them to be competitive or win any game that I see that they're on the schedule for. And then we have below average. The difference between trash and below average, I can bet on below average to win a few games, some few upsets. They have the talent, but just haven't been performing. Some notable teams in here like Washington. Washington can beat a lot of teams, but they've just fallen to bad opponents. Same thing with UCLA, UAB, West Virginia. Some surprises in here. I think Georgetown can be competitive. We've seen that against Providence. Boston College, they're usually horrible. This is kind of like a little step ahead for them. And then Michigan. Michigan just sucks. And Liberty's really struggling in the Conference USA. And then we have mid. These teams can be on the bubble. Just how they've been playing recently and throughout this season, I just don't think. I think a tournament is very out of the reach for them. Obviously, the out of tournament can be selected because there's a lot of mid-majors in here that have a chance to win their conference. Like we have Richmond, Princeton, Yale, teams like that. Yeah, teams like this started hot, were a little overrated. But now they're just losing bad games. And this is more of the category to, I think, good teams that are really underperforming. I mean, you have teams like Villanova in here. You got Providence. You got Syracuse. Teams like that. Notable Miami, Memphis. Memphis has been playing like a mid-major. Two mids there. So yeah, that just kind of explains it. Teams that I think can move up from this category, Florida State. Florida State has been amazing this second half of the season. You got teams like Providence. Providence can turn it around. It was a good game against Georgetown, although just their best playing being injured, it's going to be tough. And Ohio State. Ohio State hasn't won an away game in almost a year. They have the talent. They're just mid. If you can't win away games, only dependent on home, you're just not a good team. And then we have above average. Not a lot of teams here. Kind of teams that are in the bubble and teams that I expect to make it out of the bubble. It shocks me that Michigan State's here, but they are only an above average team. This team is a play-in team. Some other teams with their recent performances have been put down here. Like Colorado State, I would think would be a good team, but they just lost to Wyoming at home. Gave up 11 points in a minute. Absolutely horrendous. And then some teams that I really think can make it out of here, like Georgia. Georgia has proven to be very competitive. Utah has just dropped a few really bad games. I think Utah is a great team. Gonzaga, if they end up beating Kentucky and St. Mary's a few times, can easily make it out of here. And then we have good. I think these teams are the bubble teams. The teams probably around the 10, 11 seeds. Notable, we have Florida. Florida, I think, is going to make it out of the bubble. This team is going to turn it around. We have Washington State, which I am a huge fan of. I really hope to make the bubble. Texas just had a slow start. I think they're really picking it up now, so I think they can be good to great. Colorado was really hot. That loss to Washington State really hurts. You got Nebraska, just a fun team. Mississippi State, New Mexico, fun to watch at home. These teams are good. And then we have the great teams, the teams that I think are playing the best basketball they have in a while right now, and teams that can possibly be contenders. I think the top of this list is Creighton. Creighton obviously has so much potential. They've just dropped a few bad ones. These are kind of teams that were in the contender spot, but has dropped a few bad ones. Like Northwestern, I think they're a great team. South Carolina, very underrated. That team's going to be dangerous. Wisconsin, I think, is the closest to Creighton to being a contender currently. Same thing with Alabama. They've just dropped a few bad games, but when this team's playing good basketball, they are playing amazing basketball. Then we have the contenders. I don't think there's really anything that needs to be said here. These are the best teams in the country. Kentucky, Baylor, Tennessee, love Tennessee, Marquette is the only questionable one here. I made the final decision. I think they're great defensively, and they totally could be a contender. And to finish it off, this is my final four. UConn, easily the best team in the country. No debate. Purdue, same thing. UNC's playing amazing basketball. Shaky game against Florida State, but that's just going to happen. And then Kansas, I still believe in them. They will get it together. Bill Self always has a plan. This team will be dangerous in the tournament. And that concludes my college basketball tier list. If you have any complaints, leave them in the comments. Anything you change, leave them in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video.